So BengalsWire.com went ahead and posted this article talking about Jalen Johnson's brand new contract with the Chicago Bears. The reason why they're talking about it is they're saying that we should do a very similar contract with T. Higgins. So with Jalen Johnson, they went ahead and franchise tagged him back-to-back years, which of course is a possibility we could technically do if we wanted to. Problem is, every time you franchise tag a player, it goes up 150%, which is a lot of money. So they don't want you to do it. That's the point, right? So how his contract worked is that he was set to make $19.8 million this upcoming year, 1 year franchise tagged. Instead of making that, they agreed to a 4-year contract, which would put his cap hit at a $13.425 million in 2024, and then following that, a $21.425 million in 2025. Obviously, they have a potential out here, and then, of course, it would follow it up with 2026, where he'd be making $20.575, and same thing with 2027. So, they didn't use void years. They're actually just straight up pushing the money toward the future and using the signing bonus to their advantage. So, for example, he's going to be making $28 million this year, but his cap hit is only 14.25. So it's just kind of manipulating the cap with using signing bonus, which always is a possibility. And if we really wanted to, as I said many times, we could push out 5 void years onto T. Higgins' contract and really just make his cap hit almost nothing. Now, they're saying we should follow the same strategy, because if we followed the same strategy and we offered him the same exact contract, which, to be honest, as you can see right here, it says 4 years, $76 million contract, $20 million signing bonus, 51.4 is guaranteed, then we would be able to knock T. Higgins' price tag, his franchise tag, from $19 million down to $13 million. Problem is, T. Higgins wouldn't accept this contract. So we would have to do this contract, but with raised numbers. And I mean very much raised numbers. We're talking about $100 million in the ballpark range of what we would have to pay T. Higgins. In the end, I feel like it would all balance out to be the same, somewhat same structure of like 4 years, but it would probably end up being like $18 million, $23 million, maybe like $22 million, 22, whatever it ends up being, works out as. If it was $100 million, it'd be way more than that, actually. But the point is, I don't know if it would really work out as well for us when it comes to not using void years, because obviously his contract doesn't use void years. So the structure, I agree, and that's what Bengals Wire is really kind of like going on, is like the structure should be somewhat similar, but it's not really going to help us when it comes to our franchise tag costs. And that's what the BengalsWire.com is kind of talking about, is that this will help us, avoid having to pay him $19 million this year, and instead we can push money toward the future. Now, of course, kind of going off that point, the $19 million in the franchise tag is fully guaranteed, and that's something that they talk about in this article, is that, with the signing bonus, you can actually push that guarantee toward the future and not have to worry about it right now. So you can kind of, fluctuate the contract, backload the contract, as you would say. So I agree, there is definitely some parameters that I think they could follow when it comes to Jalen Johnson's contract and T. Higgins. It's just also a completely different position, and what I mean by that is the contract price tags. I mean, it's going to fluctuate depending, and they do talk about in this article, which I do agree with very much, is that a wide receiver, Jamar Chase or T. Higgins, isn't going to want to get more than a 3-year, 4-year contract, because the salary cap keeps going up. And the last thing you want to do as a wide receiver is lock yourself into a long-term contract, and the salary cap is skyrocketing, and you're sitting there like, dude, I'm making whatever money this year, but my receivers around me are making double what I'm making, because the salary cap, went through the roof. So that's another factor in this, right? As a team, we want to lock in T. Higgins for a long time. 5 years if we can. But that's not what, T. Higgins is going to want to do because of salary cap. So there's all different type of factors. I think there's a lot of contracts at the end of the day you can kind of structure off of what T. Higgins is going to get. It's going to be interesting. I'll say it like that. But I think the Jalen Johnson contract structure, it makes sense for the most part of like putting money in the signing bonus. I still think void years is going to be your best friend. Because you could put up to 5 void years, $5 million per year, up to $25 million in that context, right? So there's no limit for how much you could put per year, but I'm saying that if you put $25 million signing bonus, right? You put 5 years, $5 million per year, which means that in the future, if he does go ahead and sign another contract with us, which he probably will, it would just be a $5 million cap hit above, added on to whatever we give him. So it's a little bit less of a, void year cap hit. So we take away $25 million from his contract, that makes it $75 million. If it's not fully guaranteed, you could push money toward the future back. You can really kind of work this contract out to help us in the short term. There's ways to get around it, right? And I mean, I think the Chiefs are a great example of that. They just signed, they franchise tagged, Jerry Sneed. They signed Drew Tranquil to a crazy big contract. And then they just signed Chris Jones to a crazy big contract as well. And the way you can do that is just by, again, maneuvering around contract stuff. So, it's interesting. I'll say it like that. Very interesting to see how they end up working this contract out. I'm not a contract expert. I don't know as much as, Duke Tobin or Katie Blackburn or Zach Taylor is going to know. Obviously, they know way more than me when it comes to this stuff, but it'll be interesting to see how this final structure goes. I'm sure that I'll say it like this, right? Because the quarterback market is very much just a copy and paste market. Quarterback gets money, next quarterback's up. He's like, I want that, but more. I want that, but more. I want that, but more, right? And I think the offensive line market, Trent Williams said it best where he was like, when he went to his new contract, he just said, I want $500,000 more than that guy. That's all I want. $500,000 more than that guy. So I can say I'm the highest paid left tackle. So I think for the most part, that's really what it's going to come down to. Is that the sooner we get this contract done, the less money it's going to cost us. But we'll have to wait and see how this ends up going out. So guys, tell me down below your thoughts and opinions. I'm just hoping we get DJ Reader under contract because Tuesday is free agency and that's right around the corner. Peace out, guys.